Good evening. My name is Madison Hall, and my informative speech is going to be about The Phantom of the Opera, specifically Gaston Leroux's novelization of it. The Phantom of the Opera is a piece of media that has various different interpretations, ranging from a silent film to Andrew Lloyd Webber's famous musical adaptation, which is where the soundtrack came from. But for this speech specifically, I'll be focusing on Christine Phantom's characterization throughout the novel and then their relationship. Starting with Christine, her full name is Christine Daae, and in the novel she is about 20 years old. For a little background, Christine was very close to her father, who was a famous fiddle player, and she would sing with him. She had a very good voice growing up, and she very much enjoyed it, and this is where she got her love for music. Now, they would travel town to town and perform together, and this is kind of how her father's name got out and how he became a bit famous, not famous enough to where they could have a good living, but famous enough to where he was known, and to where after his death, Christine was recognized as his daughter. Unfortunately, he did die, and this is where Christine's mental decline started and how she developed her depression, and this is when she kind of separated herself from music. She does end up finding her love for music again when she meets her angel of music, which is very important, because on her father's deathbed, he said, "When I am in heaven, child, the angel of music will come to visit you." Now, she clings to this idea, and she hopes every night that the angel of music will come to visit her, because this is the only thing she has of her father left. Now, the angel of music does visit her, just not in the way that she expected, because Phantom, under the guise of him being the angel of music, comes to her and offers Christine singing lessons. This is where Phantom's characterization comes in. His real name is Eric. In different interpretations, he may have a last name, he may not. I know in the silent film his last name was Dessler. In the novel, he doesn't have a last name. In fact, Eric is not his name. It was given to him by accident because he was born deformed, and he was basically shunned by his family, called a subject of horror, and he was never given a name. This leads him to run away, where he ends up becoming the main attraction in his freak show, meeting gypsies, and just having this elaborate life where he gains skills like ventriloquism, becomes a magician, he is an illusionist, and he is a great architect on top of what he's known for, which is his otherworldly voice. Now, because of his eye for architect, the Shah of Persia commissions him to build his palace. This palace consists of many hidden doors and hidden passageways, and it's even said that a whisper could not be considered private. This kind of transfers over to when Eric decides to build the opera house in which all of this takes place, because he builds the secret trapdoors, the hidden passageways, and he even builds his lair under all of it, so that he will be able to go through and see, and no one will know he's there. Gaston does describe him as corpse-like, which kind of puts a damper on how people perceive him, because he has to wear a mask, because he doesn't have a nose. It's gone. His eyes are sunken in. He has yellow parchment-like skin and only a few tusks of hair on the top of his head. And even Christine goes as far as to describe constantly how cold his skin is and how corpse-like it is. And he even sleeps in a coffin, which just adds right on top of how corpse-like he is. He really, really plays into it, honestly. But, like I said, Eric goes to Christine as the angel of music to give her singing lessons. His intentions at first were just that he wanted to leave his mark, but he ended up falling in love with her and becoming obsessed, which kind of leads on to how their relationship ends up playing out. Their relationship can be described as very toxic and manipulative. Like I said, it started with lies from the beginning, and because of that, it ended on a very, very bad note, because Eric let his obsession get the better of him. He ends up kidnapping her multiple times, and not only that, he nearly kills Raoul just to get her to marry him. But in the end, he ends up letting them go under one condition, that once he dies, Christine would come back and bury him. And she does hold to her word, which shows that, in a way, Christine did love him, just not in the way that he wanted, and not in the way that he loved her. To conclude, I do believe that Phantom of the Opera is a very intense and intricate novel that really explores different types of trauma within characters and how that can lead to different relationships and how it can affect the way that they do have a relationship and the way that they can cling to people. Just to recap, Christine was a young girl who sung with her father who died, and this is why she ends up getting stuck with the angel of music who is Phantom, and how she ends up getting stuck into all of this, and Phantom gets obsessed with her. Thank you very much for listening to my speech, and I hope you have a great day.